Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Shot Block. My name's Kevin, and I'm going to be your host. Before we get into today's show, make sure you like, share, comment next week's subjects you would like me to talk about. I will try to cover all of them. I've not gotten any yet, but I did get a message from a friend of mine who wanted me to cover one subject. So I will get into that very shortly. But also, make sure you hit subscribe. Share this with your friends. This is for all of us to get talking about sports. Mostly it's going to be what I want to talk about. It is my show. But you know something? I do want to involve you guys. And I will be getting a few of my fellow friends involved in the next few weeks. With that being stated, let's get into today's show. All right. I'm going to be unapologetic, guys. Ladies, I got some things that I have to say, and some people aren't going to be happy about it. But we're going to get into the happy stuff first. For instance, two of my teams, the Redskins and Orioles. New ownership, baby. Oh, yeah. Orioles just sold for $1.725 billion. You heard that right. That's a lot. Now, granted, it wasn't as much as, say, the Redskins were worth, but football compared to baseball, it is what it is. What can you do? However, the new ownership group is amazing. We got David Rubenstein. He headed up the Carlisle group, along with another buddy of his. And then they're bringing in Grant Hill as one of the investors. And the man, the myth, the legend, the greatest shortstop of all time. Sorry, Yankee fans, it ain't him. Because the greatest shortstop of all time is not Derek Jeter. It is Cal Ripken Jr., baby! That's what I'm talking about. Cal Ripken Jr. is right back in Baltimore, right back in Cannon Yards. The house that he built, that's where he belongs, and he's right there as an owner. Not only did this team win over 100 wins, I have 100 wins in games last year, they got Cal Ripken Jr. as an owner. If you don't think we're not going to be built to win for a long time, that's going to happen. Look out, Yankees. Look out, Red Sox. Tampa Bay. Freaking Toronto. Whoever you are. Look out. We're going to be running the East. Yeah, I said it. So, if you're a fan of those other teams, sorry about your bad luck. The Orioles are going to be on top for a long time to come. But again, that sale's not going to be done and finalized until the owners vote on it, which will be next Saturday, February 10th. In that time frame, I'm so happy that Peter Angelos is gone. Sorry that you're losing your mind with dementia. I really am, Peter. But under your faithful lack of whatever it is, running a team as well as your sons, the Orioles, since 1993, have only made the postseason 6 times. 6. And 3 of those, they actually made the ALCS, which isn't bad. But then you had flops like against the Royals in, 2016 or something like that? I don't know, it's been a while. But no World Series appearances. Wow, we watched the Yankees and the Red Sox go on and win World Series. We watched Tampa Bay go on and win World Series. That's where we deserve to be. That's what this fan base needs. Last one we had was 1983. And who helped lead us to that World Series win over the Phillies? Cal Ripken Jr., baby, back in Baltimore. Hell yeah. All right. Let's get off of baseball, because I know I said I wouldn't talk baseball for a few weeks, and I couldn't help it with the new ownership change. I got too excited about that today. Yes, I said today. So I am filming this on Thursday night. I have a very eventful Friday, so that's why it's a little darker out, but I just wanted to let you fans know what's going on. We're going to move on to the NFL. We had the AFC and NFC championship games, and there were something to watch. The Chiefs ended up beating Baltimore. What was the final score on that? Oh God, my notes. Couldn't remember offhand. Chiefs 17, Baltimore 10. Very low scoring game, something I thought was going to be a little bit higher scoring game. And we also had Detroit at the 49ers. 49ers edging out Detroit 34-31. According to the numbers, great football games. They really were. Comebacks being held by both winners. But let's get to Detroit and San Fran. Detroit. Could you choke any freaking harder? Your fans were so excited about you getting 2 wins in the postseason, and you put an ass whooping in the first half on the 49ers. An ass whooping. And in the second half, you choked. You gave up 2 costly turnovers and let them get back in it. You couldn't stop them. You couldn't stop their running game. What is wrong with you? You put your foot on the throat and you hold it down for the entire game. You can't blame the refs. You're not Cowboys fans. Don't blame the refs. You can only blame yourselves. With that being stated, again, there was 2 big costly turnovers in the third quarter that allowed them back in the game. Outside of that, both quarterbacks were comparable. That's really all I got on that game. I don't really have much of an opinion because, you're rooting on Detroit. I wanted Detroit to win. I even picked Detroit to win. But we all knew the 49ers were the better team. So let's move over to Kansas City and Baltimore, which is the game that I was most interested in. Maybe it's because I'm from the D.C. area, Baltimore being so close, and me being a giant Orioles fan. I was interested in seeing what the Ravens could do, and Lamar Jackson. I picked Lamar Jackson and the Ravens to win. I thought that was going to happen. I thought Mahomes was done this year. Just goes to show you, like I said in my first episode, don't bet against Mahomes. You can't do it. Receivers can't catch a cold until the playoffs. Who freaking knew? Kelsey couldn't catch a cold until the playoffs. Oh, well, maybe that happened a few weeks earlier. Yeah, Mrs. Swift finally able to started catching passes and has been phenomenal in the playoffs. But the Ravens, again, just like Detroit, you suck. Jesus. 5 15-yard penalties, 2 of which on one drive that extended the drive for the Chiefs when you had them punting. Again. Your defense was holding again, but 2 stupid penalties. For instance, that Van Noy bumping Kelsey's helmet, a little helmet to helmet, but just soft bump. Yeah, you can't do that. You're going to get flagged every time for that. You can't do that. And then, again, like, what was it, a 3rd and 1 this time, or 3rd and 8, something like that? It was within that anyway. Travis Jones for the Ravens, a roughing the passer call on Mahomes. You idiot! You idiot! What were you thinking? Now, those weren't as bad, and the other penalties weren't as bad as the one huge one. Oh, God, Zay Flowers. You just caught a bomb and went down to the 10-yard line. You guys are ready to score. Ready to freaking score. You're at the 10-yard line. What do? You get up and you taunt. This is your coaches tell you anything? This is the most undisciplined football in the playoffs I've watched in a long time. Undisciplined BS. Next thing you know it, you're backed up to the 25. Chiefs defense stands. You screwed yourself out of points. You also screwed yourself out of points when you fumbled in the first half going into the end zone. Just get down on the ground, get to the 1-yard line. You have one of the best running games in football. You're going to score a touchdown. Instead, you got to play selfish football. Of course, he makes it in the end zone. None of us are saying this. I'm not saying this. I'm saying hell of a score. But you left points off the board. That's potentially, because of you, you're out 14 points and a guaranteed Super Bowl appearance. And then there's something else I got to talk about with this. Lamar. Mr. Jackson, if you please. You threw into triple coverage, into the end zone. You threw into triple coverage in the end zone. I've seen Chick-fil-A's more open on Sundays that I saw that guy open. What the hell were you thinking? Check down something. Take off with the ball. You got legs. You're fast. You can run. Take off with the football. Make something happen with your feet. It seems like every other quarterback in the playoffs are doing something along those lines. So Detroit screwed up. Ravens gave away the football game. So we're getting, I guess, the two worst teams out of the four. I don't know how you look at that. Maybe the two best, maybe the two worst. But we are gonna go into the Super Bowl. Chiefs at 49ers. It's an interesting game. Two of the best tight ends in football going head to head. You got Mahomes going against Mr. Irrelevant. That offensive line is really helping you out, Mr. Purdy. But without them, I don't think you're right here where you're at. And believe me, as a Redskins fan, especially a Redskins fan lifelong, I know about offensive lines. This is a rematch of 2020. Chiefs won. 49ers, you managed to get the NFC Championship or the Super Bowl, and you choke. And I think that happens again. I'm not betting against Mahomes like I did last week. So I am picking the Chiefs to win this. It's pretty much a pick 'em at this point when it comes to the odds. 49ers are giving 1.5. I would take the Chiefs in that all day. The line opened at 3.5, so it's moving in the Chiefs' favor. So I would jump on that. The over-under is going to be 47.5. I know the Chiefs just gave up, Detroit just gave up 34 points. I get that. I don't think the Chiefs are going to score that much. I think San Fran's defense is going to be pissed off. I think the Chiefs are just going to be happy to be rolling. But they're going to be very, very determined. These receivers want to prove themselves that they are a good squad. Kelsey, he wants to win one for his husband and all her fans. So I'm going to have to go Chiefs. Chiefs 23. San Fran 17. The defense will step up in this game. It's going to be whoever has the most turnovers and the most amount of penalties. And both these teams don't give up a lot of either. So it should be an interesting game to watch, but it should be a defensive football game. So enjoy the Super Bowl, ladies and gentlemen. By the way, make sure you like, share, comment what you want me to talk about for next week's show. Whatever topic you want sports related, I will discuss. Unless I get too many of them, then I'll have to pick and choose. But for right now, I'm not getting any, so make sure you do that. Now let's get into the Washington Redskins head coaching change. So a couple of days ago, we were all on Ben Johnson. Offered him a contract. He knew what that contract was before the NFC Championship game. I am 100% a believer of that. I believe that Ben Johnson came back to the interview process and he wanted more money than what the Redskins were willing to offer him, and therefore went ahead and backed out. I think the same thing happened in Seattle. So I think he just wanted more money and found out that nobody's going to sit there and pay him that much. He's not that much of a proven head coach. But in the meantime, Dan Quinn is now the head coach of the Washington Redskins. Let's see. Cowboys defensive coordinator. My instant reaction as a Redskins fan was, oh my God, did we freaking do this? Is this April 1st? Did we hire a Cowboys coach to come be the head coach of the Washington Redskins? Really? What kind of traitorous crap is that? But that was the longtime rival in me. Thinking about it, he started his career back, 2001, at least starting in the NFL. And he just started off with the 49ers, low end coach. He took stops in Miami as a defensive line coach, as well as the New York Jets, Seattle Seahawks. Eventually, he took the defensive coordinator position at the University of Florida. Florida's had some pretty solid defenses, and they were pretty good under him. I didn't actually go back and look at those stats, but living down this way, I kind of know. Let's see. Then he went back to Seattle as a defensive coordinator. He went back-to-back with Seattle with the Legion of Boom. This is what he got out of his defense. Not too shabby, right? Beat Denver. Lost to the Patriots on a heartbreaker. Marshawn Lynch. Run the football. That's all I got to say about that. He became the Falcons head coach, and you know what he did? He went right back to the Super Bowl. Granted, it was the biggest choke in Super Bowl history. Yeah, Falcons, you have a tendency to do that. That is your track record. Unbelievable. Had the Patriots beat. Then he went and took the defensive coordinator position after he got fired by the Falcons with the Cowboys. Where their defense, that was in 2021. At that point, Dallas' defense ranked 28th in scoring and 31 against the run in 2020. As he took over, they improved to 7th and 16th overall, respectively, out of those two. It's a good thing we hired a defensive coordinator as our head coach. We give up too many points on defense, Redskin fans. It's the truth. We have an offensive coordinator. Let Bieniemy prove himself, call the plays. Let's just do us a favor. As a head coach, convince the GM to get offensive linemen. I know you're going to want to go defense first. I'm sure of that. But go offensive line first. Protect Sam Howell. You can't win in the NFL without an offensive line. You can't do it. So those are topics that I really wanted to talk about. The one topic that a buddy of mine asked me to talk about is Cowboys. Cowboy fans in particular. Look, I see what he's talking about. I've been on social media sites. I pay attention to a few different talk groups on Facebook and whatnot. Cowboy fans, shut up. You did not lose to the refs. If you put yourself in a position to lose the game to the referee, you already lost the game. That's on you. That is not on the referees. I see what you're saying, but you lost the game. Dak Prescott lost the game. Those two picks were costly. He proved to be Tony Romo Jr. Great during the season, shitty in January. So shut up. And Dak is not going to be the MVP. Yeah, he had a good season. He was up there in numbers. Does that every year. But he can't win. Can win during the regular season, can't win in the playoffs. Tony Romo freaking Jr. And it's just, do yourselves a favor, shut up. Grow up. Become realistic. Stop living back in the 90s. And for those of you Cowboy fans that were not alive in the 90s, you actually won 2 Super Bowls back to back, just so you know. I know you guys have never seen them win anything. You guys are probably more realistic than the older fans. And I would know something about being realistic. My Redskins suck year in, year out. I don't pretend they're going to go to the Super Bowl. Haven't pretended that they're going to go to the Super Bowl. If I've said anything like that, it's out of sarcasm. But Jesus Christ, Cowboy fans. Especially most of you that aren't from Texas. You know, the ones with daddy issues. The ones that when you walk by, you go, smells like shame. Poor decisions. And daddy issues. You're either around a stripper or you're around a Cowboys fan. God damn. You didn't lose to the refs. You didn't win the game. You lost to Green Bay. Jordan Love was better. Green Bay was better. You lost to the better team on that day. It's over. We're moving on to the Super Bowl, where you get to play it on your PlayStation. Okay. Now that I got that little rant over, thank you guys for tuning in once again. I really appreciate y'all. Make sure you like, you share, you comment. Comment what you want me to talk in next week's show. Now, next week, I'm definitely going to be doing a more Super Bowl show. So if you have any Super Bowl related questions, if you have any Super Bowl history questions, don't hesitate to ask. Make sure you comment those below. I'll be covering a lot of past Super Bowls and this Super Bowl next week. So stay tuned. Thank you for joining the show. Thank you to my subscribers. Thank you for the likes. And thank you for the future comments.